So a couple of weeks ago, I started this little sermon series by talking about how the Word who was with God and who was God became flesh. How the God who is love became one of us. And one of us in a particular social and historical context. One of us in the backwater province of a great empire, in a occupied land among a dispossessed people. And I talked a little bit about how sometimes when we hear that the God who is love became one of us, we try to make that better. Because it is a bonkers claim. It is an absolutely bananas idea that the sovereign and creator of all that is would become one of us. And sometimes we make that okay by pretending that the God who is love just put on a disguise, just dressed up like a person. And we take out all of the kind of bad bits about being a person. And I told you that if we're going to take this bonkers idea seriously, then we need to take it seriously. We need to own that the God who is love became one of us. And in the person of Jesus Christ, we see the God who is love and humanity that is broken together, all at once. And our story today is one of those stories that we often try to make better, but that we need to take seriously. So to catch you up, Jesus was born and grew up and went to John the Baptizer and was baptized. And the heavens opened, and the Spirit came down and said, "This is my Son, the beloved, in whom I am well pleased." And then grabbed Jesus and hauled him out to the wilderness, where he fasted for 40 days. This story appears in Mark and in Matthew and in Luke. In Mark, it's just a sentence. It's just, and this thing happened. He was taken out into the wilderness and he fasted and he was tempted. In Matthew, we get the same kind of structure that we had today, but things are in a slightly different order. And that is why I like the version in Luke. Because I want you to see what is happening in the version in Luke. Jesus Christ, the God who is love and humanity who is broken, is in the wilderness and has been fasting for weeks and is famished, is hungry. God and humanity's stomach is growling. He's feeling a little weak and lightheaded. It's been a long 40 days. And the devil appears and says, "I know you're hungry. I know you're famished. I know your stomach is growling and you're a little lightheaded and you're thinking, my blood sugar is getting kind of low. But you could command those stones right there, to turn into bread. And you could eat and you wouldn't be hungry anymore." It's a nice concrete need. It's a nice immediate need. And Jesus says, we don't live by bread alone. So no. And then the devil says, "I know why you're here. You're here to redeem all of creation, to take your place as sovereign over everything. I can make that happen. See all those kingdoms, all those nations out there. Those belong to me, and I can give them to you. Nice and easy. You can just have them. You can have the lands and the wealth and the people and the armies, and you can just tell them to love each other. You can have the world that you want. You can force it to be that way. You'll have militaries at your command. All you have to do is worship me. All you have to do is tell me how great I am. All you have to do is give up some of who you are. And Jesus says, we only worship God. So no, I'm going to do this the hard way. And then the devil says, you know what's going to happen. I mean, you're going to go out and preach and teach, and some people are going to speak well of you, and a whole lot of people are going to think you're nuts and dangerous. And one of those people is going to betray you. And the authorities, that empire out there, they are going to arrest you, and they are going to try you. And they're going to crucify you. And I know that sounds like a metaphor, but in your case, it is not. They're going to put you on a cross. They're going to drive nails through your wrists. You're going to try to hold yourself up and not be able to. That weakness you feel right now from 40 days of fasting is nothing compared to what you will go through, and it will get harder to breathe, and you will gulp for air, and you will die. And it will hurt. But here we are, atop the pinnacle of the temple. You could throw yourself off of here, and angels would catch you. You wouldn't even stub your toe when you landed. You could do the weird superhero thing. The one knee looks like it should hurt. Turns out it doesn't. For you, it's okay. And if you can do that now, you can do that all the time. What you're going to go through does not have to hurt. Could be fine. And Jesus says, we're not going to put God to the test. We're going to do this the way that it is to be done. We're going to go through the whole thing. Now go away. We know what that is. Maybe the stakes haven't been as high for us, but we know what that is. There is not anybody in this room, there's not anybody watching the video, there's not anybody in the world who has not been tempted. Maybe not with the same things, but with the same offer. You could have what you want. You could take the easy way. All you have to do is give up some of who you are, and some of what you stand for, and some of what you think you believe. All you have to do is find the justification. All you have to do is say, it's just this one time. All you have to do is say, that's just the price of doing business. All you have to do is say, well, it's for the greater good. All you have to do is give up some of who you are and some of what you stand for. There are two things that I want to say about this. Let's start with the little one, the simple one, the easy one. Jesus shows us that the God who is love and the humanity that is broken can say no. And that means that we can do the same. We have that word in our vocabulary, and it is a complete sentence. No. I am not going to participate in that. I'm not going to give up some of who I am. I'm not going to give up some of what I stand for. I am going to be who I am called to be. And while we can't do that alone, we might be able to do that with God's help. There's a prayer. It's a short little prayer. Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. It's the prayer that we often pray when we have already messed up, when we have already given up some of who we are and what we stand for, when we are asking for forgiveness, and forgiveness is good, and we should pray it when we need forgiveness. Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. You know I need it. But it's also a prayer we can pray in the moment. In that moment right before. When we are looking at the thing that we want and thinking about the easy way and about to step into the thing that we should not step into, we can say, Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. Strengthen me for this. Strengthen me for this and help me be the person who you are calling me to be. And that is maybe the beauty of that prayer. It comes before and after. I'm about to mess up. Have mercy on me. I am currently messing up. Have mercy on me. I have just messed up. Have mercy on me. And we know that the God who is love through all of that will have mercy on us. That is central to our faith. The second thing is the harder thing. See, this is where we want to make the idea that the God who is love and humanity who is broken are united in Jesus. This is where we want to make it nice. Because we want to say, Jesus can't possibly sin. That is not an option. That is impossible. God cannot go against God's self. Therefore, Jesus cannot possibly be tempted. It's never a real option. He's not going to turn those stones to bread. He's not going to take the kingdoms from the devil by worshiping him. He's not going to throw himself off the pinnacle. It's not real. It's not happening. It's just a little play acting in the wilderness where no one can see. But here's the thing. None of it matters unless there is some part of Jesus, some little voice. And it doesn't have to be the God who is love. It can be the humanity that is broken. It's okay. There has to be that little voice that is saying, I could do that. I am famished. I could turn those stones to bread. I'm here on a mission. I could take the easy way. I'm scared of what this will be and of feeling that abandonment. I could not be hurt. And there is in that an astonishing thing, an amazing piece of grace, something that I cannot begin to describe. By going through that, by standing on that same knife's edge that the first man and the first woman stood on when a snake offered them an apple or a fig or a pomegranate or whatever it is. The God who is love redeemed temptation. The God who is love knows what it is. The God who is love has been there, right where we stand in those moments where we are tempted to say yes to the things we know we should not say yes to. When we are tempted to say no to the things we know we should not say no to. When we are tempted to take that step and give up some of who we are and some of what we stand for. The God who is love knows what it is to be there. And knows what it is to say, let me be merciful with myself. Give me the strength to get through this, to say no, to come out the other side. And we'll talk about this a little bit next week too. It is the being there. The being in the situation. Not looking at it from the omniscient point of view, high above it all, where God has no worries and can just see. It is the being there that makes the Christian story so bananas and so powerful. It is the being there that redeems creation. It is the being there, it is the walking through life that makes it possible for us to follow. To walk the same footsteps, the same pathway, to do the same things. And I know that's hard to believe. I know it's tempting to make Jesus so much more powerful than us because that absolves us of responsibility. We couldn't possibly do it. Only Christ could do it. But once we realize that Christ is the God who is love and the humanity that is broken, is the Word made flesh, is God as one of us, that opens up a whole new possibility. That we too, with God's help, can walk that path, can say no to the powers of sin and death and everything that makes life less, can be the people who God is calling us to be, and can become co-conspirators in bringing about God's reign of love. That is maybe the whole Christian promise. That a new, different life of love is possible. And God, in Christ, has shown us the way. And that is good news.